Let's find out the most important macroeconomic events of the first part of the week. By the moment we published our video review on InstaForex TV channel, China had already unveiled its industrial production report. The data influenced both the Australian dollar and the traders' appetite to risk assets. Notably, China is the main consumer of Australia's raw materials. On Monday and Tuesday, traders are likely to be focused on the Australian dollar. The fact is that the Reserve Bank of Australia will disclose its monetary policy meeting minutes. During the previous meeting, the regulator cut the key rate to 0.10% from 0.25%. After that, market participants started buying the Australian dollar. Moreover, Governor of the RBA Philip Lowe expressed optimism about the country's economic growth, employment and inflation. This could be considered as a hint that the regulator will hardly decide on negative rates. Thus, on Tuesday, traders may also start buying the Australian currency. On Tuesday, most currencies will have a chance to advance against the US dollar. The US will report on retail sales, its most important indicator. Consumer spending accounts for more than two-thirds of US economic output. That is why the retail sales report is a leading indicator of the future economic growth. According to the forecast, the US economic rise is likely to slow down. Thus, in October, the indicator may advance just by 0.5%. In other words, such a weak performance of the indicator could result in the greenback sell-off. On Wednesday, the British pound will be under influence of various macroeconomic events. The fact is that the UK will disclose its inflation figures for October. The UK Consumer Price Index is likely to drop by 0.1% on a monthly basis and by 0.6% on a yearly basis. The pound sterling may lose in value amid sluggish inflation growth and lower consumer prices caused by tighter restrictive measures. Eurostat will also report on the Eurozone inflation. The final data is likely to be in line with the preliminary estimates. In this case, the market will hardly show any reaction. It's quite possible that traders have already priced in the initial figures. However, if the predictions do not come true, market sentiment will change. At the end of the trading day, Canada will also publish its inflation report. The indicator is expected to show weaker performance amid pandemic and its influence on consumer activity. That is why in October the indicator's growth will slow down to 0.3% year-over-year. Notably, before the pandemic, Canada's inflation was near 2.2%. However, amid the predicted figures, the Canadian dollar may lose in value. You've watched Traders Calendar on Insta TV with me, Anna Kasatkina. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to always keep track of all the latest financial events together with us on Insta TV. Bye.